YouTube Live in Knoxville, Tennessee. Charles Van Morgan. Welcome, welcome. Thank you all for showing up. Let's see if we got any people in here. Okay, we're still waiting. So Charles Van Morgan YouTube Live. We're going to repeat stuff because people are still coming in. So we're YouTube Live from Knoxville, Tennessee. Today we're going to cover why your voice matters, and more than ever, how you can make it matter. How you can overturn these elections and why it matters. We'll give you the numbers. And also we're going to talk about, let's try not to get killed by a car here. Also we're going to talk about some pictures that I got. We got a chance to go over them. We're going to talk about some life experiences. Why I'm here, what I'm doing, why I'm here, and talk about some life experiences and some real impactful stuff I think you'll find very interesting. Tell you a little bit about me. Basically, I'll go ahead and tell you why I'm here. I'm here for you. But we'll explicate that just a little bit with big fancy words. So yeah, let me see if there's anybody in here yet. Yeah, we got people coming in. Thank you so very much. And we're going to talk about some resilience from some real heroes, and why we're going to keep on keeping on, and whatever else comes up. I like to fly by the seat of my pants and try to get a basic structure down to what we're going to do. So good morning, Charles Van Morgan YouTube Live. Yesterday we had 12,000 viewers, over 12,000. And today hopefully we'll break that. So we got an audience all over the world. Thank you so very much. We appreciate your attendance. We got some compelling stories. We're going to tell you why your voice matters more than ever. Statistically, your voice matters, and we can make it count. Yeah, we're starting to get some more people. Charles Van Morgan Live. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Talk about why your voice matters more than ever. What you can do to make a difference. Following up a little bit about yesterday. Well, see that in the governor's race, the governor won by a little over 1 million votes. And the voter base in Tennessee, counting people who are registered to vote and people who are not registered but eligible to vote, is over 5 million people. So in the governor's race, that race was decided by about a quarter of the people, about 25% of the people that are eligible to vote. That means there's 75% of people that could have overturned that election in a completely different direction. And we don't even need all 75% of them. Or these noisy vehicles. I think they do that on purpose. But people like to be heard for their absurdity instead of putting out some noise that matters. We're putting out some noise that matters. Matters big time. So much the government like to stop it. So we don't even need 75%. We need a quarter of that. So we got 3 chances. If we can activate a small percentage of the 75%, then we can blow that 25% that controls the whole state, which is their proxy. We can blow them off the map. and beat their state-run media and their state-run elections that are fraud. So look at this sign here. Fraud elections. See that? They're fraud. They're like Russia. They're obtained by state-run media. And they convince 75% of the people in Tennessee your vote doesn't matter, and don't even get registered for a large part of them. A large part of people that are eligible to vote, 75%, that's what they convince you of. And it's not your fault. I'm here to tell you different. You've got 75% more power than them. A hell of a lot more votes out there than what they got. They're not very powerful. And we can beat the hell out of them. So keep that number in mind, 75%. We ain't even got to get all 75%. A small percentage of the 75%, a little over a million, would win the governor's race. Now, not necessarily for me. You see my little question mark here. I'm not sure if I'm running or not. 2026 governor. Now, I might run, so we got a bunch of people on here. I might run, I don't know. But that's why your voice matters. Because, and even in the state, city you're in, you look at the numbers of people that don't vote, that don't participate because they're lied to by state-run media and the government and their proxy. You got more power than they do, overwhelmingly more power than these liars and thugs and frauds do. This is the movement. Power to you, the people. Voters of Tennessee, enraged. And wherever you're at, get enraged. In fact, let's put it to you this way. If you're registered and haven't voted, you got more power, there's more of you, than the people that registered and voted in upcoming elections. If you're not registered and didn't vote, you got more power than the people that are registered and went and voted, because there's more of you. There's more of you. You got more of a say, you will have in the future, than their little peddly 25%, their little quarter. Yeah, call a quarter, call somebody that cares, and we'll beat their quarter. It costs more than that now. It's more money. It went up to make a phone call, but they don't even have payphone booths anymore, and that 25 cents don't make a damn anymore. So that's why your voice matters more than ever. If you're not registered, wherever you're at, specifically I'm dealing with this crooked state of Tennessee. People tell me it's crooked everywhere. I don't know. It probably is. It may be. You know better than me. Share your stories in the comments. But I know for a fact, I have seen it. It's dirty in Tennessee. Dirty as hell. They're crooks, thugs, cheats, liars, rapists, drug addicts that are running this government. And of course, I'll throw in there the true transvestites in the closet, homosexuals. And I'm not saying that against homosexuals. That's none of my business. But when you're in the closet and you're in the government being deceitful about who you really are, like the lieutenant governor, then you know, that's a little bit of a fraud. Be who you are. I'm who I am, and telling the truth about stuff. So we can beat their little fraud, their little 25%, easily. We got overwhelming numbers. Get enraged. Get registered. In your next election, talk to your friends. Get your own 75% proxy and go vote. Because if you didn't vote, you got more power than they do, because there's more of you. If you're registered and didn't vote, then you got more power than people that went and voted in the future. There's more of you. If you're not registered, then of course you didn't vote. There's more of you. So you got more power mathematically, and numbers don't lie. They manipulate them. So you got more power. And I know it's dirty in Tennessee. Wherever you are, go vote. Get registered, and if you're not, and go vote if you didn't. So, but I know in Tennessee, I've seen it with my own eyes. In Tennessee, they go so far as to try to say and adjudicate in a legal ruling that it is daylight when it's dark. Now that's what they adjudicated for all practical purposes, because they adjudicated that I seen a wreck off the road and identified as a wreck in the dark, in the pitch dark. That's what they said that I did. That's the facade. That's the illegitimacy of the government. And I know they did that because I was there. I was out risking my life for you, the public. And that's another thing. See, I wasn't just a private individual. I wasn't out running down the road for the fun of it. I was sworn law enforcement, sworn to uphold the law, and I did. I was working for you. Is that the way the public wants to treat me? Like I'm a second-class citizen, a red-headed stepchild? Like I done something wrong when the government done something wrong? That's you doing that. You know, when the state executes somebody, it's the state doing it for you. So you don't have to do it. And if the state executes somebody wrongly, it's us doing it. We ought to make sure we got honest courts. And what the state did to me, people in government power, it's your responsibility, 75% of you, to make sure they don't govern that way. To make sure they don't mistreat people like me that were risking their life. So let's see how many people we got in here now, if you don't mind. Give me just a second. Yeah, we got way over 100. So I know they're dirty in Tennessee. And so you can vote and make a difference. That's why your vote matters. So let's talk about why I'm here. Why I'm broadcasting. What this Charles Van Morgan Unbridled News, Charles Van Morgan Live is all about. I'm out here drumming up business. I'm not shy. See, we got live now on my sign. And the other side is bigger letters, live now. And we're here on Chapman Highway in Knoxville, Tennessee. And in the government's face, because there ain't a damn thing the government can do about this legitimately, legally. Now they will illegitimately. They'll lie, rob, cheat, and steal. They lie. But legally, there's a constitution that I'm supposed to be allowed to do this. It's political speech. And I love Jesus, accept him as your Savior. So it's religious speech. And that's not religion, that's just the truth. So why I'm here is to point out how crooked and illegitimate your government is. They're illegitimate. They're not legitimate. They lie. They're keeping themselves in power. They're trying to cheat you out of your government, out of your rights. And I'm here to expose them in this show for what they are, by telling you facts and presenting stories and telling you the truth. And we're building an audience, evidently worldwide. We appreciate every one of y'all. So I'm here for you, to help you, just like I was when I was a Tennessee State Trooper. I lowered the fatality rate, kept more of you alive. And the government, through their lies and through now they're blackballing me, ostracizing me, making sure in the elections that they put on the Google and on the internet every dirty lie that they can think of to tell about me. A few of the big ones is that I saw a wreck off the road in the dark, knew it was a wreck, and intentionally drove by and let somebody burn to death. That's a dirty lie. That's not true. That didn't happen. I was there. I know that didn't happen. Gaslight, you make you question your own reality. I saw the car, and I thought it was a parked car. It wasn't overturned. I seen the back end of it. Nothing was damaged. There wasn't no lights on. Didn't appear like a wreck. Perception, reaction. You look at something from a distance, your eyes put things together. There was no damage on the rear end. They claimed that there was a tire laying off of it in the grass. You couldn't see that tire in the dark. So they put things on me that are a lie. Took the #1 drunk driving arrester off the road in the state of Tennessee. Raised your fatality rate. More of y'all were killed. That's pretty serious business. Causing people to get killed by their dirty lies. That's what they did. And that's what they'll do to you. That's what they do to you. They're not legitimate. And I'm not even saying Article 1, Sections 1 and 2 overthrown by force. even though in our Constitution in Tennessee, one of the strongest constitutions in the nation about freedom and individual rights, that they don't honor, they claim they do. They say that Tennessee is more protective of people's rights than the federal Constitution. What a lie. What a lie that is. They're more protective of the people in power than any state in the nation. Tennessee's got the most crooked judges of any state in the United States of America. Tennessee judges. So if you sue, you'll get a little bit more people, man. You'll get a little bit more justice. One of them hits me, they're gonna have a problem. You know, I'm not in anybody's way, but yeah. But if you sue, you might want to try it in a federal court, because in a state court, you get state court home cooking, and it's the governor that promotes judges, and they rule for the governor every damn time. You don't get anything but what the governor tells them to do. And that's not right. The governor ought to promote judges, and that's one thing we need to get in the governor's office. It's not me, somebody else. Because the governor promotes people, and he's a dirty man that rule for him. He don't give a damn about the truth. We need a governor in office that realizes, as a human being, you're fallible. Sometimes you're not right. The judges need to have the authority to adjudicate according to the Constitution, and not just because you're a dirty thug and you want your way no matter what. You think you're right. Yeah, even there's a way seems right to man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. That's in the Bible. The governor, Lee, and has been, their ways are ways of death, because they literally killed you on Tennessee roadways by taking me and setting a precedent that, hey, it don't matter if you do your damn job, if you're good for the public, like me and Trooper Marty Nix. If we don't like you, you're gone. We don't care about the safety, we care about us. It's the only thing we care about. That's how crooked this crooked government is. So let's see if we're maintaining the status quo in viewers. Yeah, we went way up. So yeah, so this government in Tennessee, I know for a fact that they are crooked as hell. They cost you your lives, and every day they cost you your lives. There's people waving at me. There you go. There you go. Let's wave back here. So yeah, there's people love me out here. We got more viewers than ever. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, so they're dirty as hell. Got all that money, dirty money, and wait till they stand before God. And let me mention this. When I was in torts class, mention a little law. I have a JD, Doctor of Jurisprudence, and that's why I'm here. I'm here because I got a lot of knowledge. Charles Van Morgan, JD, MA, Master of Arts in Sociology, Criminology. I got a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration, Human Resource Management, and Associate degree in Business. And that's not counting my experience, which is more valuable than education. Just frames it, makes me understand things better. There's a KPD. I'll try to hold my sign out for them. Some of them love me, but so yeah, we'll have it out with them. They'll try to stop me. This is my ride. It ain't like I'm doing something illegal or wrong. They don't like the message. Don't listen. I got a right to be out here. This is America, and I'll make sure I am. We got to sue them in federal court. So I got a wealth of education from their own universities. They even recognize there's that great university, and there's a football game Saturday. Go Vols. Big T on my hat. Somebody said it stands for Trump the other day. My name's Charles Van Morgan. Trump can take care of himself. So I got a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of experience. So like y'all tell me about some of your experiences in the comments. And I'm going to tell you how to overcome this stuff. Because truth matters. It matters a lot. But in torts class, you learn in torts, which is civil laws. Guess I got to start looking out behind me. People run over in, which is civil laws, civil rules, civil concepts about suing and civil. There's a difference between civil and criminal. Civil is stuff that the government doesn't prosecute. Individual people prosecute it, individual lawyers. Criminal stuff is stuff that violates criminal laws that they can incarcerate you for, take away your freedom. So I'm talking about torts, which is civil offenses that private individuals sue you over. They talked about, there's 4 elements: duty, breach, causation, and damages. You have to meet those elements in a civil pursuit, in a civil case against somebody. If you're trying to sue somebody in court, small claims or state court, depending on how much money, it's $25,000 if it's, and you can go to small claims. If it's more than that, you got to go to regular state court. Or if it's a constitutional violation, state actor, like a policeman, tell me to stop on the bridge, you can get them in federal court. And these federal courts are supposed to protect your constitutional rights. So one of the elements, if you don't meet all those elements, your case fails. You have to have a duty, like a traffic duty. If they ran a stop sign and hit you, they breached the duty because they had a duty to act as a reasonable, prudent person under the circumstances and obey the laws. So that's per se breach of duty. If they ran a stop sign and slam into your car, then they breached the duty. A reasonable, prudent person would obey the law and stop at a stop sign. So that's duty. That's the first element. And I won't go into the rest of it because I'm just going to talk about my point. What they don't believe, and I do. Because if you don't have a duty, your case fails. First element, a lot of people think they have a duty to do a lot of things that they don't. You don't have to help everybody. You don't have that duty. They can't sue you for not giving money to panhandlers. You don't have to do that. They can't file a civil lawsuit because you refuse to give them money. They can't give a civil lawsuit because you refuse to help somebody change their tire when they're stuck on the interstate. Now you can if you want to, but I can think of a lot of people that have crossed the interstate or crossed the highway trying to help somebody stranded and ended up dead. So your first responsibility, your first duties to your family and yourself, your first duties to God. But to drive home that point in law school, this is a pretty compelling thought. If you are about duty, how he explained duty, you got to have a duty or your case fails. If you had no duty, they don't have a lawsuit against you. You can't sue you. You can't say you did anything wrong. You didn't owe them that. But the compelling thing they talk about is if you're on a bridge, like a dock, and there's a little baby right in front of you in the water, drowning, holding their hands up, drowning. Now, and all you got to do, this is the law. I'm telling you, it's pretty tough sometimes. A lot of people think things that ain't true because they think, well, that just makes sense. You should do that, but it ain't. There's no legal duty to do that because the overwhelming public policy that you shouldn't be responsible to help everybody. You wouldn't get nothing done for yourself. And they might have put themselves in that position, but this is the extreme of it. So you're on a bridge, on a little dock, and you look over, and there's a little baby that's drowning. And all you have to do is reach over to save that baby from drowning, and reach over and pick him up and grab him by the arm. That's all you got to do. Reach over and grab him and pick him up. That's all you got to do. But you don't do that. You let that baby drown right in front of you. Now, if it was one of your family members, if it was a family member, now this is a law, I'm just telling you a duty. If it was a family member or somebody you had a special relationship with, then you may have a duty. If it's your wife, yeah, you got a duty. But if it's somebody else's baby you never met before, never had anything to do with, you don't have a duty to bend over and save that child. You could legally let that child die and drown, and you don't have to pick it up. Now, morally, that's what I'm getting into. Morally, it's a little different story, isn't it? But I'm talking about the law. You know, my doctor of jurisprudence, it's the first year torts class. It ain't difficult concepts. It's called duty, first element of a civil suit. If you don't have a duty, if those people sue you in court because all you had to do is reach over and pick up their drowning child, wouldn't cost you anything. They sue you in civil court, wrongful death. You can say, I had no duty, and you don't. You can literally do that without being civilly sued. Now, morally, and that's what the professor said, that he had a student stand up and say, well, they'll burn in hell if they don't, you know, and he said, that's right, they very well may, but on this earth, in a civil court of law, they'll get, the case will be dismissed because of the element of duty. They had no duty. You have no duty to the public at large. So you didn't have a duty. And but morally, and I believe this, you'll burn in hell. What kind of person would do that? A damn lawyer. I'm just saying, you know, but that's just a lesson they teach in tort class. And these people that are doing this dirty, you know, you'll answer to God for some of the stuff you do. And it's not just they're not being immoral, they're not being legal because they're doing stuff that's against the criminal and civil laws. So I know a lot of this stuff, and pointing it out. So let's look at some of the pictures that I got, if you want to, and we'll go into some of the stories I've got to tell. I want to show you this right here first. This is a selective service registration. Selective service, Charles Van Morgan. This is where I registered for the draft. I think it was in 1970. When I turned 18 in the 70s. And I want to talk about Cassius Clay. You know, he got the medal, the peace medal from the president. I think it was even a Republican president, and they gave him a Nobel Peace Prize. Muhammad Ali, the draft dodger. Wow. And I know he's a great boxer. I appreciate his boxing skills. But in my humble view, he didn't deserve no Nobel Peace Prize. He dodged the draft. He didn't go fight for his country. He don't deserve that honor. Now, I'm not, you know, saying he should have been put in jail. I think probably so. They give him the Nobel Peace Prize. That's how mixed up stuff is. I know a Vietnam veteran that served this country. He went over to Vietnam and fought for this nation. There's a Tennessee state trapper, and the people that work the road most of them are honorable people. God bless you all. But he went over to Vietnam and fought in the war. And his name is Larry Bledsoe. And he was in a building that was getting bombed by Vietnamese, getting shelled by Vietnamese. And he didn't avoid a draft, or he didn't avoid the war. He went and fought for his country. And he ain't got no Nobel Peace Prize. A little bit mixed up, ain't it? That's how this dirty government tells you. Muhammad Ali's good, and I'm not saying he's bad. He shouldn't have dodged the draft. He should have done what his country asked him to do. It was his responsibility legally. Give him the Nobel Peace Prize. Wow. But anyway, this is how they flip things around. Larry Bledsoe was in a building shelled by Vietnamese soldiers. and it hit the building. The building was falling over. So they had to get out of the building. And Larry will correct me if I'm wrong about some of the details, but everybody else ran out of the building because it was falling over. And he ran toward the door. I think he was the last one out. A brave man, letting everybody else get out first. The building's falling over, so he gets out last, and as he runs through the door, it's falling over, and the door falls off, and he runs through the door frame, and nails sticking out of the door where it was knocked over by enemy fire. It cuts his ribs wide open, several places. Cuts him wide open, so he's bleeding. And that's hit by the result of enemy fire. He deserves that. He deserves a medal for that. Literally, he went to the infirmary and they stitched him up, put a few bandages on him. He came out to his sergeant and he was still bleeding. Wow, that guy ran a red light. He was still bleeding, and his sergeant said, "Man, is that all they did?" He went down to the infirmary and told them to bandage him up because he was still bleeding. They half did it. Back then they were probably, he said, smoking pot and getting high and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And so he went back and they bandaged him up. He said they bandaged him up so much after the sergeant fussed at him, he couldn't hardly move. And he was all bandaged up. But he still got scars to this day where he was hit by enemy fire. They hit a building he was in, which is the same thing, a result of enemy fire, knocked the building over. Last one out, and he's yet to receive his military honors for that. Because the military has no records, because those guys are probably smoking pot, didn't even bandage him up right. It's not his responsibility to make sure people do their job. He's got paperwork in his scars on his side that he had to have stitches. He shed blood. He didn't dodge no draft. He went over there and served, and he got no Nobel Peace Prize. So how mixed up is that? How messed up is that? Y'all stand for that? Any military veterans in here? Let's try to get Larry Bledsoe his military honors that he's due. Similarly, now I wasn't in Vietnam. I didn't serve in Vietnam, didn't serve in the military. I served in law enforcement. But I was out risking my life for public safety. And did the best I could do. Best anyone could be expected. In fact, I did better than anybody could have, because I was the best at what I did. So yeah, we still got a bunch of people in here. I was the best at what I did. And they flipped that on me. Said I did something wrong when I'm out, a government official, sworn law enforcement, doing what I was asked to do. And they call me a baby killer, just like they did Vietnam soldiers. And I'm not asking for a medal. I'm asking for honor where honor's due. I wasn't running from anybody. I wasn't part of any drunken party. You know, that's a big flip to hold a trooper. A trooper's supposed to be find drunk drivers, so he's going to be in and around them. He's going to be in circumstances where drunk drivers kill themselves because, he can use every means available: blue lights, siren, hand signal, stop. He can even, if he can get a hold of them, even use force, spike strips, whatever. But if you're around drunken parties that end up in cars, bad stuff's gonna happen. It's inevitable. It happens all the time, even when troopers aren't there. You want us to not even be there and let the carnage be worse? So how does a trooper, being where he's supposed to be, doing what he's supposed to be doing, end up, and he's the bad guy? That's the flip. That's the crooked government, illegitimately, that gets a scapegoat and calls it that way. Because I didn't do a damn thing wrong, and I certainly don't appreciate it. And the 75% of y'all, step up. Show them what we honor. Larry Bledsoe ought to get his military honors. He's 70-something years old. How much longer has he got to live? Not very much longer. If you know somebody that can help, speak up to him. You know, we had probably one of the best senators, and they're all not very good, that spent time with the president, and the president's over the military. He could give him his awards. He should have mentioned to him, hey, I know a military veteran, Larry Bledsoe. They don't have any paperwork, but he's got a story to tell you, and he's got stitches. He's got a scar on his side. He was in the military. He shed his blood, and no military honors. But Tim Burchett, instead of doing that, he got a card signed for his wife. Well, that's what you got elected in office for, to help your wife out. Yeah, you're a real public servant, aren't you, Tim Burchett? Now, I'm not totally demolishing him. He's probably the best of the worst. But Tim, you can do better than that. Once you say something about a military veteran, you never served a damn day in the military. You wasn't out there. You didn't shed your blood. You didn't have a building fall on you. You didn't have nails go through your side. And you claim you love military people? Yeah, words. Yeah. What are you going to do, pray for him? You talk to the president. Once you say something about it, have him look into it. A military veteran out here that shed blood and doesn't have military honors for it. That's disgusting. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Get Larry his military honors. What kind of country is this? 75% of y'all that didn't vote. If there's a cause, it's that one. Now, similarly, I was out risking my life for public safety, and they call me evil and himself good. Yeah, it's not gonna stick. They got it all the way through their dirty courts. Oh, if a judge says it makes it right, if a judge lies, then that's legitimate. That doesn't make it right. That means the system's crooked. The truth doesn't change no matter whoever lies. So they call me a baby killer. Ostracize, blackball me. I can't even get my law license because I was out risking my life for y'all. And the people that the party was at, they praise them people, and don't even arrest or charge them, but arrest the trooper that's where he's supposed to be doing what he's supposed to be doing, because he doesn't see a wreck off the road in the dark. But another witness verifies what he said. See, I don't like eyewitness testimony. I don't like facts. Let me show you another fact. Let me show y'all another fact that I didn't cover the other day. Let me show you another fact about what they're lying about. So here we go. No, not going to drop that in the water. Let me show you another fact. Beautiful out here today. Let me show you this other fact. People are coming by, and we're trying to get public attention. Let me show you another fact. Let's see here. This is what I was reading the other day. Let's see if I got the second sheet here this time. Hang with me here. I'm trying to find this. This is the recorded interview. I know I went over this the other day, but I couldn't find the second page of the interview. And let's see if we can find it today. Hope I didn't lose it again. And I may have. See if it's in here. Second page of this little interview. Well, here it is. Somebody don't want me to find that. So yeah, let's see. Y'all hang with me in here just a second. So yeah, Shirley Darling, in her interview, Sergeant Joe Walker misrepresents in his report Miss Darling saw the crash when she looked out her bedroom window. She says she did not see it originally and called 911 because of what she heard, not saw. His report indicates she looked out her window and saw a crash. That is not in accord with testimony. She looked out her window and could not see the crash until sometime later it suddenly caught on fire. A small detail that is important and others left out of this incident, an effort by the Department of Safety to wrongfully incriminate Mr. Morgan and falsely allege a very destructive accusation to Mr. Morgan, his family, and their future, that he intentionally saw the crash and chose to ignore it. The car, under the circumstances, was not visible in the dark until it caught fire later after Mr. Morgan had passed. So, Miss Darling said, I don't know, I couldn't figure it out. It wasn't burning, but I saw somebody, it wasn't burning before that, so you just heard a loud bang. That's primarily what I heard. And we'll have to go over that later. The second page is missing again, and we'll find it, and we'll show you the second part of her testimony, so tune in at a later time, and we'll give you the entire testimony. But because of that, look at this right here. I can't practice law because I was out. The people spitting on me was out. I was out defending you all. Welcome to the practice of law. And then they turned me down. And people say that's an old grudge. No, it's not. That's something they did this year. They did that this year while at the same time they give foreigners their law license. They denied me mine. This is a Tennessee court case where they gave a foreigner their law license, and they didn't have the appropriate education. I was educated in the United States. They gave a foreigner their law license. Wouldn't give me my law license. Case where the Tennessee Supreme Court, the dirty judges gave a foreigner license to practice law that was in another country and wasn't registered for the draft, but they get their law license and I don't get mine. So they treat foreigners better than American citizens. And that happens in the United States of America. And my case in front of the judiciary was dismissed. So how do you reconcile? This is mine. Mine was denied. And look at this one right here. A foreigner, he got his law license. Look at that case right there. Got his law license. Didn't have a draft card. I got mine. I registered. So they treat foreigners better than American citizens. I registered for the draft. For what? In vain? I don't think so. I would have still registered. You keep your damn law license that are worthless, that don't do any good for nobody. So yeah, we will continue to go on with this. Thank y'all for joining us. Let's follow up, recap. So why I'm out here for you. So yeah, we got a bunch of people. I'm out here for you, for Tennesseans, people all over the world. Look at your government. I'm out here because I'm qualified. I'm out here to end their facade of an illegitimate government that's crooked as hell. And I followed up, and I'll follow up on the statement by Darling. For some reason, I can't find it again, but we'll find it and show it to you. Be something for you to listen to later. Her whole statement that saw the same thing I saw. I'm out here because I know from personal experience how dirty the crooked government is. That's what we're out here to expose, the illegitimacy of the crooked people in government power. And now they put it, they lie, cheat, rob, and steal, and they're not for you, and I am. Put this out here, see if it's better. And I'm going to tell you about them. And tomorrow we'll probably go over Freddy Krueger. When you type me in Google, you'll see the crooked lies they tell about me. And the statement from my sister where she testified in my favor. And about what the judge did. And about the appeals court judge. And about what they're here for, your money. And we need you to go vote. In closing, go vote. We've got the majority of votes if we go vote. The unregistered people and the people that are registered that don't vote outnumber the voters, outnumber their proxy. And in closing, let me share with you this right here about There is a, since we're on Vietnam veterans and the military people, God bless y'all. Keep this country safe and free. And we appreciate veterans, especially the ones that fight in the war. There's a difference between a veteran, somebody that serves in the military for 20 years, seaside, doesn't ever see a day of war, which we appreciate that. That's honorable. And one that's went to war and had his gut slit because he served in the military, it's a difference. And between people, the ones that served in the military dodging bullets, thank you. And the other ones, we thank you too, but there's a big difference. So let's talk about, I read a book from a military veteran that fought in war, and he was talking about resilience and going on in spite of adversity. Now, he fought for this country, lost his legs, and lost his arms in a roadside bomb. Still alive though, still got his life. And you think, you know, that's really difficult to live like that. Some people might not even want to live. So I read his book, and he was talking about life is worth living. Even in that circumstance, life's worth living. And he talked about going on. He said, we've got to go on. If we got to hop, roll, whatever we got to do, we got to keep moving forward. And that's just the truth about it. We got to hop, roll, whatever we got to do. We're not in that bad a circumstance, but we got to keep moving forward. Hop, roll, whatever, and that's what we're going to do. We're here for the duration, fighting for right against the crooked government. We're going to expose them for what they are. They're cowards, and they're not going to hop and roll. We're going to beat them down by voting, 75% of us. So let me look at the comments, and then we'll get off here. Join us tomorrow. We'll cover a few more interesting things. And Charles Van Morgan told you why we're here, expose the dirty government. And let's read the comments. We'll get off here and join us tomorrow morning at 6:30 again. Let me get me something to drink here. My voice is getting a little bit rough. We'll go over your comments, and also like, share, subscribe. I need a few more subscribers. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and talk to your friends about this morning show. Charles Van Morgan, JD, MA, Bachelor of Science, and life lived experience from a crooked government serving you, and they call me wicked. Yeah, they're wicked. So let me read the comments, and then we'll get off here, and y'all join us tomorrow. Thank you all so very much. Let's see what the comments say. Let's see, it says here, are you a street performer? I guess you could say that. I'll take it. Hello. False. Okay. John Brook, true. False, true. Okay. Vietnam was protected us from what exactly? Let me turn this around so you can see. Well, Vietnam was our government telling us to go to war. Hello. Telling us to go to war, and we need to vote, make sure we have appropriate government. But when your government tells you to fight to protect your country, you need to go fight and protect your country. That's not your decision to make. If everybody decides whether or not the war is worthy, unless it's obviously not, then what kind of government do we have? We got one that will be taken over. If you're told to go register for the draft, go register for the damn draft. If you don't, you're a dirty coward, and you shouldn't get a Nobel Peace Prize. And you shouldn't get your law license above people that did. And if you don't believe that, I can't help you. I mean, God bless America. This country's worth fighting for. We got to hop, roll, whatever we got to do. So that's what. I don't know if it was a good war or a bad war. I tend to think that it wasn't. You know who you talk to about that? Talk to Larry Bledsoe that's got scars from that war. Ask him what he thinks. He still went and fought. Even if he didn't agree with it, he was over there because his country asked him to. That's why. Now, I don't know about the intricacies of it. I tend to not agree with it. But, and I don't know who it protected us from. But that's not the point. You don't get to decide that in a free society, in a government. What you get to do, and what I've been trying to tell everybody to do, is you get to go vote and decide who makes those decisions. And if you don't go vote and don't make those decisions, then you don't get to not do what they tell you to do. Because we got to protect this country, and that's what that's about. So yeah, there you go with that. Ask Larry. It says, I am legend, Morgan, I don't know what that means. Turn up, Trump. You are from China. I'm not from China. So let's see, go all the way up to the comments. There's other languages here. What is your OnlyFans? I don't have one. Somebody said hi, Mexico. Yeah, Mexican. Carlin Roberts. A lot of people are evil. Yeah, they are. But we can fight them. What about selling food that is set to expire that same week? Yeah, that's wrong. I have to watch what I eat. Excuse me. Said hi. Ricky Sula said hi. Umaromo, hi. A lot of people, hello. DLZ. Russell Limster, John 3:16. Amen. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. Amen. Said hi. Russell Lancaster said hi. Right, because more of them called him the N-word. He wasn't free in America. Yeah, he was free. He didn't fight for his freedom, though. He don't deserve a Cassius Clay don't deserve a Nobel Peace Prize. He did right not to kill. That's not true. It's not killing if you're self-defense. If you're fighting for your government, there's a big difference in killing. When it's not killing when you're fighting for your country. Your government makes that decision. If it's a bad decision, it's on them. Kind of an oxymoron, don't you think? I don't understand. James said hi. These people wonder why God is bringing punishment to them. That's true. He is. And God works in mysterious ways, don't he? Yeah, it's a scary thing to fall in the hands of an almighty God, an angry God. Muhammad Ali was brave to stand up for his beliefs. I don't think that. I think he's a coward. He would have been brave to not agree with the war and go over there and fight for his country what they told him to do. That's brave. It's a coward to say, hey, I think this and I'm going against my government. That's cowardice. I don't care who he was. Larry Bledsoe's brave. And reconcile how Larry Bledsoe hasn't even got his honors. He was injured in a war, fighting for this country. And how he doesn't have his awards, and that man didn't even go to war, didn't even face any rounds, and he's got a medal, peace medal. Reconcile that. That's not reconcilable. It's wrong. It's very wrong, and this government's done that to you, making you think that. And I don't care what you think. He deserves this. I don't care what happens to Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay. I care what happens to my friend that fought in the war. Thank you, Larry Bledsoe, for your service. Amen. Did you talk? Well, I don't know what the insanity. Good morning, handsome man. Okay, thank you. Are you a street performer? No. Okay, now we're going into the comments we already did. So thank you all so very much. You're so twisted, dude. You've exchanged your brain for patriotism. No, I haven't. It is what it is. You're a grown man. You can make decisions not to kill innocent people, whatever your government says. That's not killing innocent people, and you're mixing stuff up that doesn't go together. If everybody gets to decide whether or not to protect their country and whether or not to go to war, then we're gonna not have a country. You don't get to choose that, or you don't get freedom. Now, you know, I'm just saying, you get the vote, and if you don't vote the 75%, then you get what you asked for. So we're gonna get off here. Like, share, comment on my other page, donate if you can. Keep this message going. We appreciate and love every one of y'all. God loves you, and we do too. Until tomorrow morning, thank you.